listening to the Patriot Nation Podcast.
All right, welcome into another edition of the Patriot Nation Podcast. As always, a proud member of the CLNS group of podcasts. Make sure you download and subscribe to all those great shows to get great Patriots content all week long. But tonight, it's your guy, Pat Lane, here with my man, Matt St. Jean. And Matt, we are exactly 1 week out of the NFL draft, or the start of the NFL draft. A little bit of time to look back on things. And I got to say, I wish I was still in Puerto Rico, but here we are. Nevertheless, back talking about the draft.
Are you missing the high seas, Pat?
Oh, I see what you did there. Oh, goodness.
I promise that was not planned. I wish that was planned. That was actually genuine and off the dome.
That's good. I like that.
Yeah, that is unfiltered who I am right there.
Yep, I love it. I love it. Like, Matt, do you know what a pirate's favorite letter is?
Is this part where I say the C and then you say?
You would think so, but it's actually R.
Yep.
And then you could do the other way around too. If you say R, then I would say it's actually the C. So, it's like
I love that.
So, anyways, here we are. We've lost all of our viewers because we're telling bad pirate jokes, but that's okay.
Jokes, yeah.
Just join us. Listen, you don't have to watch the Celtics implode and pee down their leg and lose to the horrendously embarrassing Philadelphia 76ers. That team is soft and weak and terrible, and the Celtics are about to blow a 3-1 lead.
Keep talking, Pat, because it's an 11-0 Celtics run right now. So.
Just not great.
Yeah.
That's incorrect. It's incorrect. Philadelphia just scored and they're back down 16. By the way, it's an 11-0 run, and they were down 14 after 11-0 run.
So down 12 after that, but yeah.
Okay.
Obviously, my stream is a little bit delayed here.
Yeah. So, nevertheless,
I know for tonight's episode, I know we're gonna do some draft superlatives.
Yes.
I was just wondering, do we just want to throw out general takes we have after the draft? Because I got a couple that have just been like kind of cooking in my brain.
Okay.
And maybe we get them out there. I don't know if you know the Ringer Pod. They do a couple times a year. They do something they call the Take Purge, where it's one podcast episode where none of the takes are serious. It's like there's no laws or anything, so you can just get out all the takes that you think you might have, but you're not ready to put on the record yet.
Okay.
I have a couple that might fall in that category. Maybe we can put out there.
I like that. Let's start with that. What the hell? You got one? Give me one.
Okay. Well, we'll rip it with my first one.
Yeah.
I kind of like the Cowboys to win the NFC East this year.
Okay. The Dallas Cowboys? Those Cowboys?
So if you pull up their depth chart now, lads.
Yep.
First of all, the offense. The offense is good.
Yeah.
Like, it was good last year. It's going to be the same guys. I don't know what the plan is for the future with George Pickens. The guys they have right now, it's just a good offense. That should be a top 10 offense. They got a lot of good pieces. Yeah. The defense is the issue. Well, you look at the defense. They got Caleb Downs, who fell to them at 11, 12, whatever I think that was. They got Malachi Lawrence. They got Jayshon Barham. They took Donovan Ezeraku last year. Got a couple other pieces in that front seven. I don't think it's a great defense, but I also think they added a better coordinator, and defense is high variance year to year. And I'm not super high on Philly this year. I kind of think they're in a transitional year right now, looking at the pieces they added. And I don't hate what Washington did either.
Yeah.
I look at Dallas, and I'm like, I don't know. They got defensive tackles that can stop the run. They got a lot of pieces that are interesting as pass rushers. They got a safety in Caleb Downs, who's kind of can be like a fix-it-all piece. And they don't have to be elite. They just have to be like the 18th best defense in football. And the Cowboys are probably going to win 10 or 11 games. And you win 10 or 11 games, you might win that division.
That's a fair point.
It's not great on defense, but it does not have to be.
You know what? the more I think about it, the more I don't hate it. Right. And I think too, if you look at who they have, right, and what it looks like on defense, right? Because again, it's one of those things where you also have to take into account who's there, right? You have, you just look at that depth chart you were talking about. They trade for Kenny Clark. They trade for Quinn Williams. They trade for Rashawn Gary. They have Demarion Overshawn, right?
Yep.
You mentioned, Rezoraku. You draft Caleb Downs, who I love. I think is a great fit. Malachi Lawrence, who, is good, but we'll see. And Barham, too. Like, you're talking about really it's interesting. That's interesting. It's fascinating.
You look at that secondary too, and it's like Deron Bland's like best strength is jumping on the ball and making plays on it. Caleb Downs can be kind of that guy and can kind of be a fixer on the back end for you. Malik Hooker's got some range. I still like Siobhan Revel at corner.
Mm-hmm.
I liked him a lot last year.
I loved him last year.
Decent player. And they have the fact that you got two defensive tackles who can really eat up blocks, and then just a number of other pieces. It's like, all right, if you want, you can get creative with your blitzes, and you're not going to be a great blitzing team, I don't think, unless all of their draft picks hit on the edge. But you can be a decent enough blitzing team to put some pressure on opponents and just like play the high variance game. Like that you're going to force enough turnovers in enough games that you're gonna win a lot of high scoring games because of that. I don't know, if you want to have like a blitzing defense where you're gonna have all kinds of crazy stuff coming at you, like having a Caleb Downs on the back end who can just kind of make sure that nothing's getting lost and you're not going to completely blow assignments feels like a pretty good place to be. That was the first one where I was looking at it after the draft and I was like, I like this a lot more than I expected to coming into this.
I'll tell you, it's not terrible, right? The Cowboys are actually plus 200 to win the division. So, the markets kind of feel the same way you do.
What are who the other teams in the division? Where do they have
Eagles? The Eagles are above them at plus 140, so it's pretty close. And then Washington is plus 410, and the Giants are plus 600, right? But that's one of those, like, people aren't far behind, right? People are not far behind in that situation. So I think they kind of see that going this way, the way you kind of look at it. I think Cowboys are plus 1,200 to win the NFC Championship. So seems like a lot, and I wouldn't either. But like you're talking about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They're seventh on the list. They're above the Bears. They're above the Commanders. They're above the Bucks. Right. So like you're talking about a team that people are pretty high on. So I don't hate that. And again, when you look at the depth chart, it's not that bad. Now they're the Cowboys, so like. Yeah, I don't know, but I don't hate that. I don't hate that take.
No, like they do play the NFC West, which could make things difficult for them. They also face the AFC South, so you're going to get some very interesting. Mm-hmm. Actually, I think this Cowboys schedule is going to be very interesting looking at it because they're going to play the Seahawks and the Rams and the 49ers. They'll get the Texans. They'll get the Jaguars. They'll get the Packers. They're going to get the Bucks, and they're going to get the Ravens. So, yeah, I think. One thing that as a take I will put on the record is I think the Cowboys probably get the maximum allotment of primetime games this year when you look at the fact that they are the Cowboys and the team. Like a Cowboys Ravens game, is that okay? The NFL announced one of the games already, but I don't know which. Was it the Cowboys Ravens game?
I don't know. You might be right. Cowboys,
they announced one during the draft, and I didn't really hold on. It might be. It is Ravens Cowboys. Yeah, that one's in Brazil.
Yeah, in Brazil. Yep, you're right. Yeah. September 27th, week 3.
Yeah,
there you go.
That's gonna be an interesting game.
Yeah, I think so.
You got any takes, any superlatives, any awards calling you after
the draft? I don't know if it's necessarily a hot take. Yeah, I wouldn't say it's necessarily a hot take. I actually think, but I do think that yeah, F it. I think the Carolina Panthers are going to win the NFC South.
Okay.
And so, this is kind of that same situation where I think some of these guys are going to take jumps. I think that when you look at, what they were able to do, I think that, Carolina, I feel good about Bryce Young. I mean, maybe not great about Bryce Young, but I feel decently good about Bryce Young. Ted obviously showed what he is last year, right? I love the fact they draft Chris Brazzell. I like the fact they go for Monroe Freeling in the first round. Like, you start looking at, okay, what can they do? Luke Fortner's there at center, but they draft Sam Hesh as well, who I think is one of the best centers in the draft. They get Lee Hunter as a defensive tackle there, right?
He and Derek Brown is like that could be very fun.
And your guy Nick Scorton they drafted last year. So there's a lot of these guys here. Devin Lloyd and Jalen Phillips are both good players as well. So I just feel like there's a chance for them. And of course they still have JC Horn at corner, but I just think that there's a chance for them to be better than they even were last year. I also think, oh God, I'm not going to do it again. I promise I'm not going to do it again, but I might do it again. Jonathan Brooks might actually be healthy this year, so maybe he'll actually contribute, not tear his ACL in training camp again. But you never know. But it was interesting. Like, there. I know. But I do think like they're pretty. They might be poised to make a run in the NFC South. And frankly, I don't believe in the Saints. I certainly don't believe in the Falcons. And, the Bucks are good, but like how good is really the question, Well,
I think the NFC South is kind of fascinating for next year because like, I don't know, I think Baker might end up being the third best quarterback in that division, but they might have the best roster outside of the quarterback position in the division. Like I do think that the Saints are also interesting. I think they have, I like their offensive setup. I'm just on the defense. They didn't do a lot with it in the offseason.
Yeah.
They do have Anthony Jennings down there now, and they traded for Tyree Wilson, which is fascinating to me.
That's right.
But I don't love it. Yeah, I think what's most interesting about the Panthers is like you look at their draft strategy, it's just get big guys. Like that's the entire thing. It's just surrounding Bryce Young. Like we have the smallest quarterback. Okay, the rest of the team is going to be the biggest in the NFL.
Yeah.
And I also think there's value in knowing who you are. Like if this is what we're going to do, this is what we're going to lean into. I think having a strong identity like that is important. I think the NFC South is fascinating for next year in general because I never know what the Bucks are. I love the Bucks draft, and we're going to get into superlatives here. I think they're going to be one of mine. But they're just, it's such a weird place. I feel like the Buccaneers are almost taking the mantle from the Saints as the NFC South team that refuses to rebuild and just kind of keeps going.
Yeah.
And like now the Saints, like look at the Saints cap situation. Like they're in good shape now. They finally paid the bills. Like I think the credit card debt's gone.
Yeah.
And they can operate like a normal team again. And if Shuck ends up being a good quarterback for them, they're also in a spot where they could really go all in and try to compete in 2027, I think. I think I'm agreed on your Panthers take, though. I also love the Falcons, man. I don't know what they're...
the Falcons are just a joke. They're just a joke.
There's a lot of things I like about the Falcons, but the fact that that's their quarterback situation means I just can't take them seriously.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. So, all right, you want to... Should we pay some bills
ad read
here?
Real quick?
Yeah, let's do the ad read, and then we'll get some. We'll get into some of our things here. Okay, hold on. You've jumped the gun on me because I didn't have it pulled up. That's okay. That's okay. We're stalling. Actually, by me saying we're stalling, we're definitely not stalling. But here we go. I have it. It's in front of me. I've got it. This, what the heck is going on, dude? Here we go. The regular season's wrapped up and the NBA players are finally here, and there's no better way to cash in on the high-flying hoops action than Prize Picks, a preferred partner of the NBA. Every bucket, every dime, and every win means more when you're playing on Prize Picks. So don't pass up your next shot with Prize Picks and get $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. Now, there's the Do It Live 2026 NBA Finals sweepstakes, which means you're going to pick live squares during NBA playoffs, and you could win a trip for two to the NBA Finals. To enter, you just make a $5 lineup with at least one live NBA player pick during any part of the 2026 NBA playoffs. Live player picks are picks made after a game is already in progress. Now, my lineup today, unfortunately, is not going to hit. Man, I felt so good about it. I feel like Jason Tatum left with an injury, but his points, rebounds, and assists have almost been guaranteed all playoffs, all series, I should say. Left with an injury, was well on the way to doing it. I believed in Derek White tonight. I was very wrong. And Tyrese Maxey, I nailed. So, look, I'm going to trust in Tatum. Someone's going to bounce back. And then Tyrese Maxey is the guy in Philadelphia. But nevertheless, we're back at it on Saturday for Game 7. You got to get that lineup in for Game 7. What you're going to do is download the Prize Picks app today. Use the code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS on Prize Picks to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, a preferred partner of the NBA. So as we sit here and talk about the Celtics, right? First of all, all right, here's another take for you. Can I give you a non-NBA take?
Sure.
All right, love it. Sorry, a non-NFL take about the NBA. The NBA is stupid. They're incredibly dumb and stupid.
I'm going to cut you off right here just for 1 second, and that I'm pretty sure I can yes and whatever take you're about to give immediately after. So keep going.
This lottery system is the single dumbest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. The single dumbest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. You're punishing the worst teams. So what you're going to have them do is you're going to have teams, you're just tanking in the opposite direction. So instead of the worst team tanking, the sixth worst team is going to tank. What difference does it make? It's incredibly stupid. If you want to fix tanking, the only thing that you have to do is make the number one team get the number one pick. Make the number two worst team get the number two pick. Get the number three worst team get the number three pick. Just like the NFL does. Just make that the rule. And then, and then a team can't have the number one pick 2 years in a row. If you get the number one pick 2 years in a row, you automatically get the 32nd pick in the first round. Whoa, okay. That's easy. You can't get a top 5 pick 3 years in a row. Otherwise, you automatically get the 31st or whatever the hell, however many teams there are. You automatically get the last pick in the first round. You can't be a top 10. You can't have a top 10 pick 4 years in a row, or you lose your first round draft pick. Done. I've solved tanking for you. You're welcome, NBA. Stop being so incredibly stupid with this ridiculous. It makes absolutely no sense. It makes no sense. It drives me crazy, and it's just so unnecessary. You're getting rid of tanking. Tanking's not even a problem. The only reason they care about it, you know why they care about it? Because the sports books. That's the only reason they care about it. There's no other reason to care about it other than the sports books. That's it. Because gambling suffers, they care. Stop cowtailing to gambling and just go with a regular thing. It's so stupid.
I think Adam Silver probably listens to like the worst people are. Like he seems to be so influenced by the online discourse that like I don't think tanking is actually a real big problem in the NBA beyond what it is in other sports. my yes and take was that I forget whatever day it was. They said they were going to do this earlier this week. That was this. My take is that that's the worst day we've had for the sport of basketball in the United States in a long time because of the changes to March Madness approved the same day. I'm going to talk about that in a second. But about the NBA, like I'm not actually convinced that tanking is that big of a problem. I think by letting the critics control the story, it becomes a bigger deal than it is. If you just said, no, we're not changing anything, then it would probably die out on its own.
Right.
I think the changes you proposed are probably decent. You could even just do, something as simple as you can't have the number one pick in back-to-back years. If you finish in last place, you're going to get bumped down to number 2 or whatever. Like,
right.
Or, things like that. Like, I don't think it has to be anything crazy. And the other thing you probably have to do, if you wanted to, is have the owners take it seriously to actually put a competitive team out there. I don't think they're not going to do that. So that is what it is.
Right.
But I don't know. You look at the NFL, like how many week 17 and week 18 games were unwatchable? But who cares? Because at that point, you're focused on like the playoffs and the seeding and all that stuff. Like that's what you're excited about. Who cares if one of the 1 o'clock games on CBS is awful? There's going to be another good one. Like,
that's the point. Like, you don't need to care about that. It doesn't matter. And again, the only people that care about it are the gamblers. That's it. Those are the only people that care about it. The tanking is not an issue. It's an issue because the gamblers make it an issue. That's it. Do you know how much the gamblers probably hate week 18 when nobody knows anything? Like, no one knows anything. You can't even play fantasy football in week 18 because you don't know who's going to start and who's going to play and what they're going to do. You have no clue. And so it's like, they hate that, but it's the NFL and they can do whatever they want. So like, it's just the NBA it drives me crazy.
Well, and the other thing, March Madness, changing the bracket, so dumb. I think one of the biggest reasons March Madness is as popular as it is because you can take a single 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, put all the teams on it, and go talk with your family, your friends, your coworkers, whoever, and compare what you think is going to happen. And then at the end of the week, all watch together and see what happens.
Right.
Expanding the Tuesday and Wednesday action and expanding the tournament is so dumb because it kills that. Like, you can't, if the games on Tuesday and Wednesday like genuinely matter now, then you have one day to fill out your bracket, which you're cutting out so much of the discussion aspect of this, the sharing of this with your friends and your family that makes March Madness fun. Like I don't know. I love sending my bracket to my dad every year and bragging, or most of the time sending it to my dad and saying, "Can you believe I got all of these wrong? I can't believe like how did that happen?"
Right.
That's the fun of this thing. And also the fact that it's just going to be harder to do a bracket now. Like, you can't pick the 12-5 games now because the 12, like all those 12s are going to be play-ins.
Well, the other
won't
issue,
know who the teams are playing.
Right.
Like, you can't. Like, that's the fun is picking the upsets. You can't, if you don't know who's going to be in the game to pick the upsets until
it's stupid.
11 o'clock Wednesday night. What are we doing here? And it's the sport entirely misreading why it's popular. Like, college basketball is popular because March Madness is fun because that is a shared experience. Everything that you do as a sport to stay relevant and to be popular has to recognize that and be in service of that. And this is just greedy.
Yeah,
I don't even think it's going to make that much more money either.
No, it's not. And the other thing for me that I don't like is that, you're adding all these extra teams, but you're not going to add the mid-majors in. You're going to add those 500 teams from the SEC or the Big Ten. And it's like, who cares about those friggin' teams? Those teams stink. Like, give me a mid-majors team who, like, is an up-and-coming team that, like, has a chance to make a run. Give me that team. I just,
Yeah, and that's – well, the other thing is that some of those mid-majors are going to make it, but now they're all going to have to play in games to actually get in. Right. So, like, you're going to have, I don't know, like Santa Clara in a play-in game against a 7-13, a team that went 7-13 in the conference in the ACC.
Right.
And the reality is the ACC team might win that game because those teams are genuinely pretty good. Yeah. But now that Santa Clara team that may have just made the tournament outright before has to go play a neutral site play-in game, and it's like I don't know, devalues the regular season, and I think it's dumb, but yeah, we're going well off base here.
Anyways, I was gonna say let's get back to the NFL. Also, Corey said your analysis is psychotic. Now I don't know who he's talking to, what he's talking about.
I think that was me, and I appreciate it.
Sure. Okay. Either way, so you're wrong, Corey. Thanks for your opinion, but you're wrong. It's okay.
I have another. I don't know if it's a take. I think it's a follow up on a previous take.
Okay, let's hear it.
Mike McDaniel becoming offensive coordinator of the Chargers was, to me, one of the most fascinating developments of the offseason because his personality with Jim Harbaugh's personality and their visions for football. I just find that so interesting the way they're going to put those together. Did you see the video of them
saying he was going to take his shirt off? Yeah.
So funny. We're going to get so much more of that.
Oh, yeah.
I kind of think, like, I don't know if I actually like the Chargers team on paper that much. I think they're probably a playoff team, but it's a team that could win 8 games, a team that could win 12 games. I don't know, somewhere in there. I think I'm just bought in on them because those coaches are like this seems fun, and just the vibes are so good.
And I'm a fan of what they did in the draft. I love the Mesidor pick. Jake Slaughter, I think they crushed it with that pick. Brendan Thompson, Travis Burke, Genesis Smith, Nick Barrett, like all guys that like Logan Taylor. So like you draft 2 guards, you draft a tackle, you draft a center who has position flexibility. You draft an edge, a wide receiver, a safety, and a D tackle. Like it's all positions that they desperately needed. Offensive line was like their big issue. And now you just drafted 4 guys on the offensive line. And one of which I think is going to step in and play right away in Slaughter. One of which I love his size in Travis Burke, 4th round pick, and then you take 2 flyers in the 6th round on guards that could be backups for you. Like I love what they did. Mesidor's an older player, but he can step right in and play for you immediately. So I think they were able to do some good things over there. And again, Brendan Thompson in that Mike McDaniel offense. I worry about he's small, obviously, but he's just stupid fast. And Mike McDaniel can coach guys up that are stupid fast like that and at least have some gadget plays for him. So, I like it.
It does concern me that as of this moment, Cole Strange is listed as a starter on that offensive line.
It's not great. But that's where Jake Slaughter comes in, right? Jake Slaughter maybe can, has a little position flexibility. I'm not sure who their starting center is.
They
right
also
now,
have Jake Slaughter starting.
Oh, okay. Well, never mind then. So
they have Slaughter at left guard, Strange right guard, Tyler Biadasz, who was a cap casualty from the Commanders. I don't love it, but it's also like Harbaugh and McDaniel are both coaches known for getting the most out of bad offensive lines. Like they've done a good job of scheming things up, particularly in the run game.
Yeah,
and they got the tackles back, and there's talent at receiver, and Harbaugh's a good quarterback. Or not Harbaugh, Herbert. I do worry about them losing their defensive coordinator. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Chargers totally flip-flop on what they were last year. Not that they'll totally lose it on defense, but I wouldn't be surprised if their defense drops and their offense shoots up. And it's just a different type of team from what they were.
Yeah. So,
but I might have them winning that division. Are they favored right? They
No, I can't imagine they are. I mean, I guess we don't know when Mahomes is coming back, but I can't imagine they're favored to win the division.
I don't know, because
they are ahead of the Broncos. They are ahead of the Broncos. I think it's Chiefs, Chargers, Broncos, Raiders. I believe.
I don't know how you could pick the Chiefs to win that division right now without knowing what Mahomes looks like.
Yeah.
Like if you're starting off the year with 3 Justin Fields games,
it's not ideal. Not ideal.
Yeah, they are fascinating to me. And I'm very intrigued for this season. It's also, we're in the hope season right now where everything's good. And all of the bets people took are going to work out, and no one is injured for the most part. That will change in 3 months. So
that is very true. All right, you want to get into some of these draft superlatives?
Yeah.
All right.
I'll let you go first here.
Okay, so let's start Patriots specific to start. Okay. What's your favorite pick from the Patriots the weekend?
Eli Raridon. My guy, I love him at tight end. I love the fit.
Yeah.
Been banging the table for a tight end for a while. He's a guy who I think goes much higher without the injury concerns, and I think they were overstated because it's been 4 years since he last had an issue with ACL. Like, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
He's been playing. He missed some time in 2023 because of it, but we're 2 full healthy seasons removed from him having any issues with that. And he's such a vertical threat too that pairs well with May. I love everything about that pick.
Yeah, I was gonna say Raridon. I'll say Gabe Akers instead because I'll be a little bit different, but like in a similar vein, I think incredibly highly of Akers. I think he's gonna play significant minutes as a rookie, significant snaps as a rookie. Like he's gonna be out there quite a bit. You look at the depth at edge, and it's not very big, right? And so obviously they went into the draft. And they kind of feel like, okay, we're happy with where we're at. It's funny because I always write the mock drafts for the Patriots kind of in between, right? So my day 2 mock draft, I had them taking Oscar Delp in the second round, and then I forget what edge in the third round. Either way, but I had them taking tight end and edge. And I really wanted to take Akers in the second round, but I was like, well, I'm not going to trade up because I was just going to have them take, pick where they should pick and then just go from there. But Akers was the guy that I had on my mind. Like, I'd love to see them get Akers in the second round. Never thinking it would happen. And this is kind of the same situation the Patriots looked at. And I think that they looked at Akers and Lomu in similar lights and kind of said, like, yeah, we're probably not going to get these guys just based on where we're at. And then they traded up for both of them, right? And I think it's interesting, kind of what they did. I do think that if they don't trade up at 31 and Lomu gets taken by the Chiefs or someone else, that there's a strong possibility that they would have taken Akers at 31. So the fact that you get him at 55, I think is really solid. I know you got to give up a decent amount to go get him, but I like the move a lot.
Yeah, I think it's just the nature of the draft too, with the first pick being a stash for 2027 and day 3 kind of being a wash. Like
right.
The second and third round picks that's where you're getting your 2026 impact in all likelihood.
100%. Yeah, 100%. I can't imagine really any of the other guys having an impact outside of special teams. In 2026, obviously, barring an injury on the offensive line, that pushes Lomu into playing this year.
Yeah. I guess I'll ask back. What was your least favorite pick then?
So my least favorite pick, I have a few of them, but I'm gonna start with, I would say, the least obvious one. I think there's a pretty obvious one. I'm gonna go kind of less obvious, and I'm gonna go with Nnamdi Obiazor. I just didn't like it. I know that he's similar to Marte Mapu. I know that he's probably going to play a ton of special teams. He'll be on the field a lot for the Patriots, hypothetically, right? Assuming that he can actually do that. I just don't know if I see a world where he plays any defense for you ever, right? And I know it's a 6th round pick and like, whatever. But like there are guys on the board that I genuinely thought could play football for you. Harold Perkins is a guy that, and I know he's more of an outside linebacker than inside linebacker, but like Harold Perkins is a guy that, like, I don't know, like maybe he sucks, but like the talent is there. You saw the talent at LSU, right? And so why not take a chance on a guy like that and just see what happens? If you're drafting guys that are going to be special teams only guys anyways, why not shoot for the moon and try to get some guy that has crazy athleticism or crazy talent and just see if he can turn him into something, right? And if not, he just plays special teams, which is exactly what this kid's going to do. Like, and the ceiling is, to me, the ceiling is incredibly low. And so I just don't see the, I don't know. I don't see it.
Yeah, I think I get the one. I think I like this pick more than you do, but I totally get where you're coming from. I think my least favorite is going to end up being Jam Miller, only because I didn't like this running back class at all,
Mm-hmm.
and I would have punted on it. Like, I don't like Antonio Gibson was making too much money to be your third running back in a vacuum. I would
Right.
rather have him at what he costs than what they've got there now, especially with Ramondre having some of the issues he's had and the fact that Henderson was actually unplayable at points in the playoffs. Like,
Right.
I think if you want to be a running team, you don't need to have a great third running back, but you'd like to have someone that's playable, and whether that's Gibson or someone you go sign in free agency or even just go make a small trade for, I think I would have liked that better than Jam Miller.
Well, and your point, I think, is well taken. The guys taken after now, obviously the Patriots drafted Quintavious Hutchins as well, right? So they had another shot at more guys, but the guys taken after Jam Miller, Bernard, who I loved out of Nigeria, right? Now, would it have worked for the Patriots or not? I don't know, but like international player pathway, why not? Keyshawn James Newby, who I loved, who I thought really had some juice off the edge that I liked quite a bit. Deion Burks, who's an interesting kind of slot receiver, wide receiver, that I thought could have pushed for Pop's job potentially, or at least, given him some competition. And then Red Murdoch from Buffalo, who's a guy that we talked about on the podcast as well, hard hitting, middle linebacker type guy. So, that's the end of the draft. Red Murdoch was actually Mr. Irrelevant, but like that's the end of the draft. But like it feels like that there are guys there that are players that you kind of like. Right. And again, I also don't know what UDFAs they try to get that they couldn't get. Right. Is there someone else that they could have drafted there that they tried to get as UDFA and didn't get him? Well, you don't have to try to get that guy. You could have signed Jam Miller's UDFA and drafted that other guy that you missed out on. Again, I have no idea if there's any guys even like that, but like there's certainly a chance. Right. And so,
I think the other question is, could they have just traded the pick for a veteran running back as well?
Well, that's also true too. Yeah,
I think that's something I would have been open to, just to get a guy who is going to be decent this year. And it's not like I liked the day 1 and 2 picks. In day 3, I didn't love any of the picks really,
right?
Maybe the tackle, but I also. Like the opportunity cost to me was so low just because I didn't think there was much talent available this year. So like I'm not going to get too bent out of shape about it.
That's fair.
That's fair. And there's also a chance, by the way, that like they were sitting at the 5th round at 171 and trying to use one of their 6th round picks to move back up to, the end of the 4th round or earlier in the 5th round and couldn't do it because people looked at it and said, well, we don't care. Like why do we want an extra pick? Right. So, and yeah, again, no intel on that. Don't know one way or the other, but I just feel like, that's one of those that you look back on and wonder, like, I don't know, who knows what they tried,
Yeah.
So, well, I guess it's my turn if you just went, right? So I'm going to go with. So, and they asked this question on a different show. What I'm going to ask you as well. Gabe Akkas is pretty clearly the guy that has the most, that's going to make the most impact this year, or has the biggest chance to make the most impact outside of Akkas. Who do you think has the most impact in year 1 in 2026 on this roster?
It's got to be Raritan of all the other options. I think he's the only one with the obvious path to do it.
Yeah,
which is one of the reasons why he's my favorite pick. I will say, I think there is a decent chance the other one's Lomu. If there's a world where he just straight up wins a starting job in camp, like he's just good and they need to play him. I don't think that's crazy, especially with Moses getting older.
That's fair.
And I also think there's a world where Morgan Moses gets hurt or something and Lomu takes the job and doesn't give it back. That's very possible here. And then I'd add, maybe he ends up being your jumbo tight end and is out there as a run blocker.
Fair point.
I doubt it because the biggest thing for him is to play. Like he's not the big, nasty, tough guy typically for that, but he is big. I'm like, he's not. It's weird to talk about Lomu because I wouldn't say he's a bad run blocker. he's just like he wins run blocks with like angles and scheme because he's big and he moves well. So he can get people to a spot and get them out of an area. But he's not someone who like he's not someone you're going to put on a double team to move a nose tackle out of the way. Like he just doesn't have that nasty, or he's not the guy who's going to finish the block on a linebacker and put him in the dirt. He will get him out of the way. You will get a successful run out of it, but he's not going to punish the guy for it the way you saw Will Campbell do on his tape last year. So I don't know where that leaves you there. And then if we're going to do the that role, Crown over, I think is probably in that conversation, right?
I think you're probably right.
Be a jumbo tight end.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. Him, Marcus Bryant, someone like that, right? That has a little bit more of that. By the way, Dan does say here, he doesn't think that Lomo wins the job, but injury replacement feels likely, right? Moses is awesome, but at that age, it's hard to expect a fully healthy season. He hadn't really had a fully healthy season before last year, and then he plays 20 games, right? So, we'll see. We'll see how that goes. I think you're right. I mean, the answer has to be Reardon. Like, I just think that's the answer. So
I don't think there's another person in that same tier.
Unless you want to sit there and say Karan Prunty is going to play on every special teams unit, I guess. But
Prunty, does Carlton Davis get hurt and now he ends up winning a starting outside job? Possible.
And with him, I will say I do trust our guy, Coach Williams, who said he's a draftable player, right? He's a draftable guy. He's got sticky coverage for the most part, but again, did you have to draft him at 171? Could you have waited and drafted him a little bit later? I don't know. Again, I don't know how the rest of the league feels about it. I'm not sure. So, but ultimately, if that's what they wanted to do and that's the guy that they liked, obviously they liked him. They brought him in for a top 30 visit. So yeah, it's all right. So there's that.
I don't know how many more of these we want to do before we talk about Gronk, because we're at 40 minutes here.
Let's.
I have a couple I can throw out if you want.
I was gonna say let's do one or two more. We can kind of open it up to the rest of the league, because here's the thing: if we're being honest, right? If we're talking about favorite picks, or I was thinking best player in 5 years, it's going to be one of the top three guys, right? So we can just keep naming the top three guys over and over again. Basically, anyone drafted in day 3, maybe they'll surprise us, but we don't have very high hopes for those guys. So maybe we open up a little bit wider.
Can I just? I just have a couple that I wrote down. Can I just speed run a couple that I had?
Let's do it. Yeah.
All right. I have. Well, you asked me to do least favorite pick. What we were talking about. I did a least favorite pick in general. I just kept this to first rounders where it's really relevant. One that I kind of look back on as, I don't know if I liked that as much as I thought I would, was Dylan Thieneman to the Bears. I like Thieneman. Yeah. I like Emmanuel McNeil-Warren more. I don't think Thieneman fills that Kevin Byard shaped hole in the defense either that they're losing. He's a different type of player. And the Bears needed a pass rusher. And I look back and what is it? Something like Keldrick Falk there to me.
Yeah.
Do they end up regretting that in a couple of years?
They certainly could.
That was one that kind of stuck to me. And I hesitate. You can also do Caleb Banks there, but that felt like low-hanging fruit. Yeah. So I wanted to do something different. Biggest steal is Caleb Downs to the Cowboys. With honorary mention to Ruben Bain to the Buccaneers. Those two, I don't know how they fell out of the top 10. And then two different specially named awards. One of them, the annual Cole Strange, we were hoping he would be there in the 3rd round award, is going to go to the Los Angeles Rams for their pick of Ty Simpson, with an honorable mention to the Jaguars for taking Nate Boerker. And the Saquon Barkley, why would you take a running back that high award, goes to the Arizona Cardinals.
I just don't. So my least favorite pick of the 1st round, right, has got to be the Jeremiah Love pick. I actually don't love that pick. The Ty Simpson pick, I'm what the hell are you doing with Ty Simpson there? Makes absolutely no sense. Never made sense. Don't get it. Don't understand it. I actually don't love the David Bailey fit either, but nevertheless, that's probably just because of the Jets and who knows, but I would have taken Avril Reese. It's just my personal opinion, but whatever. So The biggest deal is you named it, but the Jeremiah Love thing, we talked about it a little bit, right? Where it's like with Thor, we talked about it a little bit. I just don't get it. Like, I just don't. Maybe you think, right, that, okay, this guy is that good that we have to get him. But I don't see that. I just don't. He's a good player. I'm not saying he's not a good player. Saquon Barkley's a really good player too. But on the Giants, it didn't matter because the Giants sucked.
Yeah.
The Cardinals suck. You don't need a running back. Like, the running back is the cherry on top. Jadarian Price to Seattle was a great draft pick because the Seahawks are really good. And then you drop a running back into a really good team, and that puts them over the top. Right now, they had a good running back last year in Kenneth Walker. So, like, it's not like they're adding something different. But, like, you were missing a starting running back, and then you add a starting running back. Oh, that's really good. The Cardinals are missing everything. When you draft a running back, it doesn't do anything for you. So I didn't like that. I thought it was dumb. The Cole Strange Award, and Dan mentions it, the upset of the century that the 49ers didn't get the Cole Strange Award. It's
another great team for it.
The Stribling, Height, Kalen Black. I like some of the players. I think Deshaun Stribling was early. I don't know if it was that early. I like what Stribling brings a lot. I don't know how much other teams liked it. Like Kyle Shanahan, of course, said today that a lot of teams had him as their number one receiver. Like, okay, sure they did. Like, but at least I feel like he's a good player. Like, I don't feel like you're reaching on a guy. Romello Height, I'm like, meh, he didn't do it for me. Kalen Black, like, I like Kalen Black, but like in the third round, you have no other needs that you need in the third round there. I don't know. But ultimately, like, you come away with Stribling. I don't mind Height, and you get Grayson Halton in the fourth round. Like, that's not bad. That's not a bad 3 picks for you. Could you have gone in a different direction? Sure, maybe, right? But like, I don't necessarily hate that. And so, I look at that and say, all right, like, I don't mind it as much. But yeah, in the first round, the Caleb Banks one is obvious, but that's really it for me. As far as like the worst picks, there's obviously some really bad ones, right? Where you just kind of feel like, what are you doing? Why are you taking that guy in that spot, right? You don't have to take him there. You can wait longer. I thought Avion Terrell. Now, again, this could have something to do with, injury concerns or whatever, but he goes, pick 48. Like, that seems late. That kid's going to be a stud, I feel like. And now he's playing next to his brother, too. Like, I think that's really cool. So,
well, that's for those that's like, that feels like it's going to be cool and also won't amount to anything because it's the Falcons.
Yeah, you're probably right. That's a great point. The other guy's Marlon Klein. I just have no clue. He gets taken 59th overall. Like, what are we doing?
I'm a Michigan fan. I liked Klein a lot as
like
a day 3 guy. Like you said, we got him in the 5th round. I'm pretty excited about that.
And this is the Luke Schoonmaker thing all over again. I loved Luke Schoonmaker in the 5th round. The Cowboys took him in the 2nd. And it's like, what are you doing, dude? Like, I just don't. And guess what we've seen from him in the first 3 years of his career? Not a damn thing. Because he's a 5th round player. He's not a 2nd round player. It's just, it's so anyways. But yeah, so that's that. I will say, as far as teams, can I just tell you, the Miami Dolphins had one hell of a draft. The Miami Dolphins, so Caden Proctor, who they've already said is going to play guard, which I think is an interesting decision, but, a lot of players thought that, I've heard people saying that he's going to compete for all pros at guard. I don't know if I'd go that far necessarily, but, sure, if that's what they believe. The Chris Johnson pick at 27, I love that pick. I think he's a stud. Jacob Rodriguez early in the 2nd round, another stud. Kasmeric is fine. Chris Bell in the 3rd round. Kyle Lewis in the 4th round. Max Llewellyn in the 7th round. Like, I look at some of those picks and I'm like, oh man, like, there's so many names on there that I love. I will say, and this is, and Goose kind of makes this point. If you're going to draft Caden Proctor to play guard, the guy only sitting there.
Yep,
like maybe just draft that guy instead, right?
That has just been sitting in my head this entire time. Because this Dolphins draft is like on paper, everything like it, and it'll probably end up looking decent because they made so many picks.
Right.
2 firsts, 3 thirds, 2 fourths, 3 fifths. Like there's a lot of picks. You end up with 6 picks in the top 100. So like I'm sure that'll turn out decent. But the fact that like you used the 12th overall pick on a tackle to guard convert who is not considered the best guard in the draft.
Right.
You used pick 43 on a linebacker, which I don't hate. I like Jacob Rodriguez a lot. It's a position of need for them. And it's also like, I don't know, linebackers are a position that busts a decent amount. And I don't know. Like that's I don't know if I like that for them with the scheme they're gonna run. Caleb Douglas at 75 is inexplicable. That's he was like a UDFA level guy.
That one was a wild one for me, but
then Kaczmarek and Chris Bell, awesome.
And they get that's the thing. So it's like
and the fact that you get Kyle Lewis and Jacob Rodriguez, it's like all right, at least one of those two should turn out to be a decent player for you.
Right.
So like I think on the whole the draft ends up being good, and then I also look back and it's like I feel like we're gonna end up looking back at some missed opportunities for them. I do like the Chris Johnson pick. That's great.
Yeah.
And a position of need. I'm sure he'll be an instant impact guy for them.
100%.
A lot of weird drafts this year where I didn't feel like I hated it for the team, but like I look at the Jets draft and it feels so high variance to me.
Yeah.
They give all 3 of their first rounders end up being Pro Bowl players. I wouldn't be surprised. If all 3 of them stink, I wouldn't be surprised.
Right.
Like you may have taken the 3rd of the top 3 at edge rusher. You take a tight end, and then you trade back into the 1st for a receiver, and it's like, all right, well, there's like receivers in that tier bust a decent amount. Tight ends are all over the place, and Sadiq is an interesting projection. Who like you need Mason Taylor to develop as a blocker to make that work for you. And Bigley is like I thought he had the highest bust potential of any of the top 3 guys. So like I don't know. Given the Jets history, probably not great for them. They have also it is funny. You look at recent Jets drafts, they actually have drafted relatively well.
Yeah.
It's just the fact that they could not find a quarterback. Like they drafted Zach Wilson at number 2. Like that was the issue for them is that they had. You look at this 2022, 2023 teams. Like with a real quarterback, they probably make the playoffs one of those years.
Yeah,
because the defense was that good.
I also think there's 2 other teams that I loved. It's not going to matter. It's not going to matter. I'm going to be very clear. It's not going to matter. I love the Browns draft, right?
Me too.
I think the names, right? Spencer Fano, they take as the number 1 tackle on the board, pick 9. I like Fano. I don't know if I love Fano, but I like Fano. They're going to play him at left tackle, which feels like a mistake, but fine. Okay. I like Spencer Fano. Then they get Casey Concepcion and Denzel Boston. Love it. Then they draft Emil McNeil 1. Love it. Then in the 5th round, they draft Parker Brailsford, the center from Alabama, and they draft Justin Jefferson, the linebacker from Alabama, and they go Joe Royer, the tight end, and then Taylor Green. Like, I love the guys that they added on here. So, like, that – now, again, it's the Browns. It sounds like they might be starting Deshaun Watson. It doesn't matter. It's not going to matter. They're going to suck anyways. They're going to be in the top 10 again next year. But I do love what they did on paper. I think that Concepcion and Denzel Boston have a chance to be like a really good wide receiver tandem for them. They just don't have a quarterback that can throw on the ball. So, like, I don't know if that helps, but I do really like what they did in the draft.
That's a draft that has, on paper, strong fundamentals that will put you in a position to draft a quarterback next year. But It's the Browns, so
Right.
Will they like what I just said about the Jets? They had all these great drafts that they wasted because they couldn't find the quarterback. Can you get the quarterback, Cleveland? I think
100%.
proof's in the pudding, and as an organization, they have not been able to do that.
Yeah.
The
last one's Philly. Philly, just super quick. They trade up for Lemon. They get Stowers. They get Markel Bell. And then you end the draft with Michael Morris, Cole Wisniewski, UR Bernard, who I already talked about, and Keyshawn James Newby. Like, they didn't have a ton of picks, but like they moved up to get the wide receiver that they wanted. They're obviously trading AJ Brown. I love the fact that they went out and got Stowers, and then you get, talk about these guys that they just churn out these offensive linemen. And so you get a guy with the size of Markel Bell. I love, Micah Morris as a prospect, a late round prospect that could turn into something. And obviously we talked about Bernard and James Newby already. Like, I just think that, I really like that draft. So,
yeah, I like it. I do think it signals a transitional era for them.
Because and we did talk about that. Yeah.
Mekhi Lemon and Eli Stowers with Jalen Hurts is a very weird combination of players. Feels like, and when you have new coaching in there, like I think they're taking the offense in a new direction right now, and Hurts is either going to get on that direction or they're going to find another solution at that position, which is crazy to be in this spot. Especially because I don't think Jalen Hurts is a bad player. He's just a player with very clearly defined strengths and weaknesses. When his strengths are on and he's got the support around him, he can take over and to dominate games for you because he's like a home run hitter. And he can just kill you. And when it's not on or he doesn't have the supporting cast he needs to do that, he can't elevate guys.
Yeah,
and
agreed.
So I think he can be a good quarterback on a good team. I don't think he's necessarily what Philly's looking for the future.
Agreed. Also, N'Keal with some positivity.
I love it, N'Keal.
Look at you. Look at you go.
N'Keal, saying the Pats draft is up there for one of the best. I don't know if I agree, but I just appreciate the positivity, so I think we can leave it there.
Yes, love it. Not going to disagree with you. Love the positivity. Yeah. Thanks for bringing it. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
All right, Matt. I've cut you off like 4 times as you've tried to segue into something else. So what?
Oh, I was all done with the superlatives. That was all I had. So I didn't know if we wanted to get a little Gronk talk in here before we wrap up.
Let's get the Gronk talk in before we wrap up. Obviously, Rob Gronkowski elected into the Patriots Hall of Fame before Adam Vinatieri over Adam Vinatieri and Logan Mankins. Listen, he's the greatest tight end of all time. Like, I hate him for the fact that, I hated him for the fact that he left the Patriots and he screwed the Patriots over in 2019. Then he came back and, demanded to get traded to Tampa Bay. And so the Patriots had to trade him for nothing. I get it. Right? I don't love that. But he's the greatest tight end of all time. Like, he deserved to be in the Hall of Fame. He gets into the Hall of Fame. It's the right move to get him into the Hall of Fame. It's really kind of that simple. I'm actually surprised that Gronk, if it's his first year of eligibility for the Patriots Hall of Fame, is his first year of eligibility for the Pro Football Hall of Fame as well, or no? Right?
It's 5 years. His last year was 2021. Yeah, this I think would be his first year for the Professional Hall of Fame too.
So, but it'll be like next year, like this next cycle, right? Because I think they were saying this is his first year.
So I'll have to research this and come back.
Anyways, either way, right? He should be a first ballot Hall of Famer in the Pro Football Hall of Fame as well. But I get the fact he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. Joe Murray on Boston has entered the chat with our guy with our guy Keegan Stiefel. Made a very long rant and plea for Adam Vinatieri. And by the way, my dad just texted me and said that he voted for Adam every time in the last 2 years. And Adam Vinatieri is the greatest kicker of all time. Period. Full stop. Greatest kicker of all time. The fact that he's not in the Pro Football Hall of Fame is outrageous.
Didn't he just get voted in?
And he just got in.
Yeah.
Should have been in the first year. Should have been a first ballot Hall of Fame. Sorry. Like, he should have been in a first ballot Hall of Fame. But he's getting in now. It's good enough for me. The thing that sucks about the Patriots Hall of Fame is that, they only vote one guy in a year, right? And so it's like, well, he runs up against Julian Edelman and Rob Gronkowski, like two of the best Patriots ever. So it's just a tough gauntlet for him, unfortunately, right?
Well, the issue for Adam is over half that legacy happened somewhere not in New England. And like Edelman and Gronk, Edelman is a career Patriot. Gronk was basically a career Patriot. And both of those guys have remained very like vocally pro New England since leaving as well. It's like fresh in the fans' minds that these guys are still advocates for the Patriots all over social media.
Yeah.
Adam isn't. And it's not just that. He's also a Colt. So he has to honor that legacy as well. Correct. And he's a quieter guy. Like he's not all over the place like Edelman and Gronk are.
Yeah.
That doesn't really surprise me. I'm excited for Gronk. Like he's awesome. Great player. I don't know if we want to just talk about some of our favorite Gronk plays.
Oh my Lord, dude.
The one that first one that comes to my the one that comes to my mind though, it's the preseason game against the Rams where he drags that guy and dives for the touchdown. I don't even know if you know this play.
I think so. Yeah.
But it was just one of those moments where it was like, all right, well, you don't usually see guys do that. So that's pretty cool. Like it was one of those like, oh, if he could do that every game, he's going to be a Hall of Famer. And then he went and did it every game. Yeah.
The one against Washington where he like dove on the sideline and then got up and then ran by and through everyone. It's just kind of like, okay, like what are we doing here? So he's on another level. Again, the greatest tight end of all time.
Yep.
Not just because he's a great receiver, because he's also one of the best blocking tight ends of all time. So, that for me, I get like he's the greatest tight end of all time. The hard part about Adam Vinatieri, and this is the hard part for me. Matthew Slater and Devin McCourty are up soon as well. Do they get it? Does Devin McCourty get in? I think Devin McCourty gets in first ballot. I think he has to get in first ballot.
I think Vinatieri's got to get it now. I think Adam would get in first.
I don't know.
I think we're looking at Adam. Honestly, I bet Slater would get in because people love Slater, and he's got some real accolades. All-pro. But I wouldn't be surprised if it's Slater and then remember Hightower still on this list, Mencken is still on this list.
Yeah.
But I think Adam is a tier above that group of guys. And then we're going to get to the point where it's like, all right, we're gonna put in that next tier, we're gonna put in one a year, and hopefully that. But by the time we're done with that, we might be having discussions about, I don't know, Hunter Henry, like maybe we're at that point once we get all those guys in.
Well, then you wonder about what happens with the next dynasty and so on and so forth, right? And then who are the other guys that have to get in? And it is interesting. Like it's fascinating, right? And I think, and Nikhil's been talking about, the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and we've voiced our displeasure about that. The guys that, Bill Belichick's still not in. Robert Kraft still isn't in. Vinatieri gets in on the second ballot. And then you're talking about guys like Stanley Morgan, Rodney Harrison. It's like it's stupid, really is what it is. It's dumb. And it, becomes a popularity contest. It becomes, whatever else, because we didn't like this guy, we're not going to put him in. It's ridiculous, really, if we're being honest. And so that's not the case with the Patriots Hall of Fame, which I like. I will say at a certain point, it becomes, how many guys are going to go in the Patriots Hall of Fame, I guess is really the question, right? Like, but if you do one every year, then that's okay. I think that's the other part of it is people want to put multiple guys in a year, and I understand that. I also think that at a certain point, you cheapen the Hall of Fame if you put too many guys in, right?
Well, and
we don't need to put too many guys in the Patriots Hall of Fame.
Yeah. Well, and there's like a point where if the Patriots, let's say this 1 year we got last year ends up being 1 year, and we're kind of up and down for a bit here as an organization. You look 10 years into the future, and it might be like, man, it's going to be, Kyle Van Noy up for Patriots Hall of Fame or like
Right.
guys like that. And it's like, all right, like I think we're in a decent spot. I do want to highlight a couple other Gronk plays, just because like there's a string of postseason plays from him.
Oh yeah.
2014 Super Bowl. He has 2 massive plays in that game.
Mm-hmm.
You get the one-on-one with KJ Wright. Awesome. They scheme up, dusts him, touchdown. Should have put him up 14-7 as the halftime score. We don't have to get into what happened with the remaining 31 seconds after that.
Mm-hmm.
And then 2nd and 11 on, I believe, I don't remember if it was the game. I don't remember if it was like the game-winning drive, the go-ahead drive, or if it was the first touchdown drive in the 4th quarter.
I think it was the first touchdown drive, but it might have been the game-winning drive. But I think it was the first touchdown drive.
Yeah, where they get him. I think that was man coverage with Cam Chancellor on that one. He runs away from him for a big gain. And also on one of those drives, they got him one-on-one with KJ Wright again, and he sells the fade and stops. You get like a nice, easy pickup.
Yeah, for first
massive
down.
Plays in that game. Doesn't lead to anything in 2015, but the 4th and 10 conversion against Denver in the AFC Championship game is still, I think, one of like I leaped out of my seat when that happened. In terms of how, like, from 0 to 100, like it's 4th and 10, Brady's getting killed. You think it's over, and you see Brady throw that up, and for Gronk to come down with that is just unbelievable.
Absolutely outrageous. And then he makes the insane touchdown catch, right? And so, you just, man, oh God, like what a drive that was. And unfortunately, they don't get the 2-point conversion, but that really was an incredible drive by him. You have the one-handed catch against Denver at home. I forget what year that was, to be honest with you, but
2014.
Was it 2014 where you had that one-handed catch like at the 2-yard line or something ridiculous like that?
Well,
Brady, Brady's on, like, how did you catch that? It's like, and Gronk mentioned it the other day when we was getting interviewed by the Patriots media. He talked about that 2017 run against the Steelers, where he just put on an absolute show against the Steelers in 2017, and just the picture of him, and I guess it's a video, but the video of him catching the ball in the end zone with the Steelers guy draped all over him, and then him looking at the guy, pointing at him, and laughing, and then spiking the ball to oblivion. Incredible.
That was soon-to-be Patriots legend Sean Davis. He spent a little time in New England the next year, or the 2 years after that, who he beat on those.
Good point.
And his best Super Bowl performance probably is that Eagles one that year, which unfortunately doesn't get the win. But the next year he does get the big play,
right?
On the offensive play against the Rams to set up the touchdown. Oh, he has 2 on that drive. It's the 5-play touchdown drive where play action leak to the tight end. Gronk takes that and runs. Haas wide juke 3 times in a row where he gets the big play, and Michelle up the middle. And that's your chunk play on that drive.
Really for the game. That's really the only chunk play they had in the game. I mean, it's, my dad mentioned the regular season catch against the Steelers. I believe it was in 17, right? Like literally off the ground. That's that same game, right? Yeah. He also had that touchdown catch against the Texans in the playoffs with the full extension where he's full extension and he bobbles the ball and then pulls it in and then slams onto the ground as he catches it in the corner of the end zone.
That's Denver.
Denver.
Denver. Round, where they beat them. And that 2011 season, what he did, I think, to the Chiefs Monday night game that year. Yeah. And landing on his neck and coming up.
Yeah.
I think, obviously, all the Gronk quotes. The one that always sticks with me is "Yo soy fiesta," which is a great one. I think we were probably robbed of what could have been an all-time performance in Super Bowl 46 if he does not get hurt in that AFC Championship game.
Yeah. And that's really what sucks is that you lose that 2011 game. And they had no business making the Super Bowl. But Gronk getting hurt before that Super Bowl just completely deadened their offense. And if Gronk's healthy that season, I think I don't want to say they easily win. I think that they win that game. And you win that game in that situation with Julian Edelman playing slot corner for you exclusively, basically, right? And Earthwind Moreland playing, Earthwind Moreland and Sterling Moore starting at you at outside corner is just like, if you win the Super Bowl in that situation, it's outrageous. And I think if Gronk's healthy, I think there's almost no question they win that game, and it just kind of stinks that it ended that way.
Well, in both of the Super Bowl losses he plays in, he is so close to catching big passes in both. The Giants game, he's hobbled and Chase Blackburn out jumps him on a jump ball and picks off Tom Brady in a play that just like how does that that's what does not happen if Gronk is healthy.
Right. Right.
And then Super Bowl against the Eagles, how close does he come to catching that Hail Mary at the end? And the ball's tipped around.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. And it's crazy how many good Super Bowl moments he had and how many more he still could have had on top of that, injured in the game in 2011, but playing through it. Doesn't even play in 2016 against Atlanta.
Yeah.
Like we probably don't have 28-3 if Gronk's healthy because they're not going down 28-3 if Gronk's playing in that game.
That's a good point.
It might still go down early, but you're just not going to see them do that. Just so many great memories, and one of my favorite players to watch out there.
Yeah. By the way, Matt, with a correction for me, Earthwind Moreland was in the 2004 team. 2011, the outside corner was Antoine Molden. Of course, the great Antoine Molden. And Sterling Moore. So, nevertheless, right, the point remains they had crap at corner and were still somehow winning. Just wild. So,
which side note, that Sterling Moore pass breakup against the Ravens in that AFC Championship game,
unbelievable. On Lee Evans, unbelievable. Yeah,
all-time moment.
And then the missed field goal. It's like, how does that even happen?
Yeah. When they missed that field goal, I really thought there was no way the Patriots were going to lose the Super Bowl because feels like fate's on your side. You're going to do it for Myra, and this is revenge for 2007. Like it's all coming together. And a strange Super Bowl. Like that was, I think of all the Super Bowls the Patriots have played in, that's the weirdest one. When you think of, the game opens, the first play of the game for New England is a safety because on an intentional grounding from your own end zone.
And a garbage one at that.
Yeah. Well, that's one of those that's like technically the correct call, and you also literally never see them actually throw that flag.
Right.
The game-winning touchdown is one where the guy's actively trying to not go into the end zone.
Right.
You have the Mario Manningham catch, which is just like what?
Right.
Bizarre game all around. Weird flow. That was also, I always remember this. That was when they switched to the silver Super Bowl logos, like the standardized ones.
Yes.
But they hadn't figured out how to make the patch shiny yet. So it literally just looks like someone printed it out in Microsoft Word and taped it to everyone's jersey, and it just looks awful. And it was just like, it was put in the Indiana Colts turf, which also doesn't look good. And it was just like, man, like the turf looks washed out. The patch looks horrendous. We got weird stuff happening all over the place. That was the one with someone flipped off the camera during the halftime show. MIA, the rapper.
Oh yeah, okay.
And it was just like a whole lot of like, what? Like none of this feels like a Super Bowl. Like everything about this is giving the vibes of like a Thursday night game from October. Yet it's the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it was wild. That was a wild game. Again, it's one of those ones where you feel like, oh man, should have won. But again, it's hard. It's like Brady plays in 9 with the Patriots, and you feel like all 3 should have been wins. All 3 losses should have been wins. But then it's like, well, yeah, but then at least a few of the 6 wins should have been losses. So it's, it just is what it is. But anyways, I think that's it. You got anything else? Yeah, I think that's it. So we'll be back on Monday. Listen, boys and girls, if you're listening to this, if you're live right now, then it's still April. But if you're listening to this in podcast form or rewatching on YouTube, it's now May. And guess what happens in May? The NFL schedule gets released. And so here we are, right? like we're right around the corner. We're going to get to see when the Patriots play the Chiefs. I'm very much looking forward to that. I'm hoping that I'm able to go to that Chiefs game. That's the game I want to go to this year for my trip. We'll see what happens. They're playing in Buffalo this year, obviously, as they do every year, but Buffalo's got a new stadium this year, so that's going to be an interesting game as well. I assume that's going to be a primetime game in Buffalo's new stadium. So I'm looking forward to that. And as Nikhil says, it is May. That's true. So so that's what we got. So anyways, thanks for coming through, everyone. We appreciate it. We'll be back next week. And Nikhil's also right that FIFA's coming in June. I don't know if anyone cares about soccer. I don't care about soccer, but I'm sure there are people
I'm
out there
excited
do.
for the World Cup. I think that'll be fun.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
I enjoy watching soccer. I have no emotional connection to the sport whatsoever.
Yeah, same.
If it's a Sunday morning and I'm on the couch doing something, having my morning coffee, and I'm like, oh yeah, there's Premier League on. I can throw that on, and then I'll put it on as background noise while I do something else. Occasionally look up. That's fun, and I like the World Cup. Outside of that,
fair point. So, but yeah. So, anyways, well, thanks for coming through, everyone. We appreciate it. Thanks to the chat as always for being here. And that's it. Be good to each other and go Pat.